So hello everybody and welcome to this intermediate class focusing on grasshopper pose. So this is a class for people with a little bit of yoga experience. So if you're a beginner, then you of course have a go, but just be aware that some of the poses might feel a bit challenging. So we're just going to start by coming to a comfortable seat. So you can sit cross-legged if that feels okay, or you could kneel if that feels better. Just sitting in a way where you can sit up nice and straight. Just coming into your breath, landing in your space. If you're watching this just after Christmas, you might be feeling a little bit sluggish, a little bit tired. Perhaps you've overindulged a bit. Perhaps you're feeling a bit frazzled. So this is your time to just come and relax in your space, your practice, to do the way that you want to. Landing and settling in the breath. Feeling the breath in the belly and in the rib cage, the nostrils. And we're going to start by just taking a simple twist. So inhaling to be tall, lifting up into the crown of the head, creating some space at the sides of the waist. And then with that spaciousness in the low back, we're going to come into a nice, easy twist. And we want to be twisting from the waist. So we're using the muscles here and then the chest to make the twist. The head then follows along and the hands just help us. So we're not forcing our way into the twist using the hands, but we're just helping ourselves to stay with the hands. And exhaling, releasing to center. Inhaling, again, being tall. And exhaling, twisting to the other side. And again, the hands are just helping us. Most of the work is happening here with the muscles of the waist. And as we inhale, can we be a tiny bit taller? As we exhale, can we just release and ease into the twist? There's no forcing, there's no strain. We're just using the exhalations to let go and ease our way into the twist. And then exhaling, coming back to center. Bringing the right hand to the right side of the body. Inhaling, let's lift up the left arm and be really tall. And then exhaling into a side step. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. And exhaling. I'm just going to loosen up the shoulders a little bit. So bringing the hands to the shoulders. We're going to work with the breath. So we're exhaling as we bring the elbows forwards. Inhaling as we open up the front of the body. And going back the other way. And then bringing the arms out into a T shape with the palms of the hands facing the ceiling. Trying to take the thumbs back to the wall behind you as best you can. We're just going to close the arms in, bending at the elbow, and then opening up again at the elbow. Just doing this a few times with your own breath. So I like to inhale as I'm opening up and exhale as I bring the hands in. And then releasing the arms. I'm just going to take the feet out in front of us and just make some circles with the toes. Trying to keep the movement at the ankle. So the knees will probably move a little bit, but we're trying to keep most of the movement in the ankle. Circling back the other way. And then I'm just going to turn sideways for this, hugging one thigh into the body. I'm going to inhale, straightening out the leg, and exhale, release. Same with the other leg. And then you can try, if you like, with both legs together. So I wouldn't do this if you have high blood pressure. or if you're new to yoga. But for those of us that are a bit more experienced, you can take your hands behind your thighs and explore balancing on the sit bones, trying to keep a really nice straight back. So there's lots of muscular action going on at the tummy, and we can try straightening and bending both knees together. And then releasing. So from here, we're just going to come to lying on our backs, and we're going to do some yogi bicycles and then a stretch for the hamstrings. So I'm going to turn sideways so you can see what I'm doing. So there's two ways to do this. So we can either keep the supporting foot on the floor, and we'll go the extra elbow to opposite knee. Or if you want a bit more vigorous exercise, you can lift the feet off the floor and take the opposite foot away from you. So we're bringing the right elbow to left knee, and the right leg moves away from you. Left elbow to right knee, left foot moves away from you. Yeah, exhaling as we lift and inhaling to lower. And releasing the feet to the floor. Just enjoying a moment of rest, feeling your body relaxing on the floor. And then from here, we're going to do a hamstring stretch. So you can keep your supporting leg bent with the foot flat on the floor, particularly if you've got any low back sensitivity or you've got anything going on in the abdomen. I would definitely keep that supporting leg bent. If you want a stronger stretch, you can straighten out the left leg. So we're going to inhale, lifting the right leg to the ceiling as best we can. We're going to take the hands around the thigh, possibly around the calf, possibly even you could take hold of the big toe. So just taking your hands to where works for you. And then releasing the right leg. And now the right leg's the supporting leg, so you could leave that leg bent if you want. And we're going to lift the left leg up to the ceiling. And again, you can take hold of the thigh, maybe the ankle or the calf, possibly even the big toe. Try to keep your chin tucked, shoulders are heavy. And releasing the left leg. So we're coming back up to sitting. It's going to do a couple of seated poses before we move on to our peak pose of grasshopper. So first one, seated forward fold. So sitting up nice and straight. Now, if you know that your hamstrings are a little bit tight, you could use a flat block. And if you don't have a yoga block at home, you could use a book or anything that helps you to just sit up a little. So I'm going to turn sideways. You can see that I'm just sitting on the edge of the block. So my hips are just resting on the edge. And this just helps me to sit up a bit straighter. And then from here, we're going to fold forwards. Just coming as far forward as you can, folding from the hips. So we want to keep the back straight. We're trying not to round like this, but rather we want to keep the back straight. Keep the chest lifted. Fold forwards as far as you can from the hips with the chest lifted. When you feel you've come as far as you can, maybe you will want to let the head and the shoulders go. And maybe you can bring the hands to the feet or to rest on the floor. But again, we don't want to have any forcing here. So we want to feel that we're using the breath. So as we inhale, we're filling the body with breath. As we exhale, we're just releasing and letting go. And it's that letting go of tension that will help you to release further into the pose. And then when you're ready, just walking your hands back in again. And we're just going to take a simple twist. So hugging the right knee into the body, sitting up nice and straight. And you could leave your right foot here, especially if you've got any low back issues going on at the moment, or you could bring your right foot across the midline of the body. And again, you could work from this position, or some of us might want to bring the left foot back to the right hip, but only if you can keep both sit bones firmly on the ground. So if you find that making this position means that you're leaning to one side, you've come too far, and you'll be better off to keep the left leg out straight in front of you. So wherever you've come, we're going to sit up nice and straight, and we're going to turn to the right. The right hand's coming behind us, and we're looking over the right shoulder. Most of the work, again, is coming from the waist and from the rib cage, and the head is just gently following. And some of us, especially with a bit of experience, could bring the left elbow beyond the right knee. And releasing. Unraveling the legs. And then this time hugging the right knee into the body, left knee into the body, left knee perhaps coming across the body. And then maybe the right foot comes to the left hip. Only if that feels comfortable though. So remember, you could keep the right leg straight out in front of you instead. Inhaling to be tall, lifting into the crown of the head. Exhaling, this time we're twisting to the left. And we're using our inhalation to be tall and the exhalation to just release into the twist. We're not forcing, we're not straining, we're not using our hands to kind of jam ourselves into the pose, but we're just gently, gently twisting. And it's that exhalation, that release of tension that will help you to twist a little further. Remember, you could bring the right elbow beyond the left knee. And releasing. And just straightening out the legs. Let's just take a moment to sit up nice and straight. Let the body come back into symmetry. So the pose that we're going to do next is called Grasshopper pose. And depending on how tight or not tight your hamstrings are, you might want to use a belt for this. So I've got an old martial arts belt. You might have a dressing gown cord. You might have a scarf that's not stretchy. You might have any kind of belt really that you can use. And that will be helpful if you can't easily reach your foot. So we're just going to do a very quick warm-up twist. So inhaling to be tall, and then exhaling, just going to take a nice gentle twist, and we're going to bring the right hand to the outside of the left foot. And if it doesn't come to the left foot, maybe it comes to the outside of the left calf or the outside of the left knee. I'm just going to take a twist there. And then we're going to twist in the other direction. Again, this time it's going to be the left foot coming to the outside of the right foot, or perhaps the right ankle. And again, we're taking a twist. And so we're going to put all of these movements together into Grasshopper pose. So Grasshopper pose, not as difficult as it looks, but it's quite a fun balancing challenge. So we're going to bring the right knee into the body and then crossing the right foot over the midline. So again, I would say if you've got low back issues, this probably isn't the pose for you, and you might want to just watch rather than having a go. So we're then going to take the right hand to the little toe side of the left foot. Now, if you can't reach the little toe side of the left foot, this is a really good place to use a belt. So you can take hold of the belt. If you haven't got a belt, you could also just take your hand underneath your calf, and that might work. So I'm going to do it without the belt for now. So left forearm is coming to the floor, quite far away from the body. So the further away from the body you can comfortably get it, that might make the balance easier for you. And then in order to come up into Grasshopper pose, we just need to take our weight quite confidently over the left forearm, and then the hips and the left leg will hopefully pop off the floor. So start by just lifting the left foot, and then we're going to bring our weight over the forearm, and there we go. Hopefully we are balancing. So when you've held that for as long as you want to, we'll come over to the other side. So this time we're going to hug the left foot into the body and then bring the left foot across the midline. So the left arm is reaching for the little toe side of the right foot. Or remember, we could be using a belt. So I'll show on this side using a belt. Move a little bit so you can see. So left arm on the belt, right forearm to the floor, quite far away from the body. And then when we're ready, we need to really bring the weight. So it's all about bringing the weight confidently over the forearm and play around with the position of the forearm if it doesn't work for you straight away, because changing the position of the forearm can really help. Remember to breathe. And release. So that is grasshopper pose. So a little bit of fun for intermediate students. And let's just come back to symmetry, just bring the legs straight out in front of us. And we're just going to bring the hands to wherever they comfortably come and just take a nice forward fold. And then come to relaxing on the floor. Bringing the hands to the belly. Oh, just move that belt out of the way. Just releasing any tension that's built up. Letting the breath settle. Bringing the hands to the belly can feel quite nourishing. As you settle into your relaxation, just equalizing the inhalation and the exhalation. So counting to 3 or 4, maybe 6 on the inhalation and taking the same count on the exhalation. So we're inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, and exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4. Continuing with whatever count works for you. So it shouldn't feel like a strain, but just using the count to equalize the inhalation and the exhalation. Then releasing the count, letting the breath settle. Maybe the breath quietens. Maybe the pauses between the breaths get a little longer. And then staying here in this relaxation position for as long as you want. So if you've got time, you could stay for 5 or 10 minutes. Just enjoying time to rest. But if you're ready to finish, just rolling over onto one side. And finding your way back to a seated position. So thank you for joining me for this grasshopper class, and I look forward to seeing you in classes in the new year. Happy New Year.